Kind. This is a cooperative effort through the library here and the Women's Club of St. Cloud. All our models are associated with the Women's Club, and they're all excited about showing their outfits to you today. So, with that, I will turn the program over to Renee Middleton, who is going to be our commentator. Hope you enjoy the show. 1910 fashion looks. A new look in women's fashion developed in 1908 and carried over into the early 1910s. In 1908, the unnatural S figures that were pushed with corsets and bustles were replaced with a straight, natural figure. The waist was loosened and a straight line was adopted. Additionally, the frills and flourishes of the previous decade were gone. This style remained the height of fashion until around 1915. In 1915, the hobble skirt was replaced with a full skirt cut just above the ankles. The V neckline was the popular neckline of the second half of the 1910s. By 1918, clothes were becoming straighter and less curvy. The boyish look of the 1920s began to evolve during the late years of the 1910s. The definable style of this decade lasted until 1918, at which time the trends of the 1920s began to set in. Now welcome our first model, Toni Jones. Toni is wearing a white batiste blouse and black cotton skirt. Over her blouse, she wears a knit white wool short cape adorned with a heart-shaped pin. Her outfit is completed by a white cotton bonnet with ruffled trim. She is ready for tasks in the house or in the garden. Toni wears a garment typical of most St. Cloud women at that time. Our next model is Maria Fortuno. Early 1900 mourning outfit. Maria is in deep mourning, wearing a simple floor-length black skirt and high-neck blouse with no embellishments. A black shawl is draped around her. She is not permitted to wear any jewelry and may only accessorize with black, including her stockings and shoes. Today she is wearing black satin gloves and carries a black satin purse, the ideal place for her necessary handkerchief. A black lace veil covers her face and may only be removed when she finishes the deep mourning stage and enters second mourning. A half mourning stage follows second mourning. With each stage, the shade of black may be lightened, and other somber colors such as gray and white may be incorporated. In the early 1900s, women were bound to mourning dress etiquette for a much longer period than men. Once the funeral was over, men need only wear a black armband or a black tie around their hats, whereas a widowed woman was required to wear mourning attire for 1 to 2 years. Although many women remained in black for the rest of their lives, Maria's friends and family grieve with her. Our next model is C.D. Hoffman. C.D. is wearing a full-length black cotton skirt with a white flower design. Her white shirt has buttons down the front and puffy sleeves. She wears a white apron to keep the outfit clean during the day. It is a 1910 day garment. She would look very pretty while doing her housework. Our next model is Jackie Fitzgerald. Seamstress Jackie is wearing a white Irish linen tunic style blouse with an embroidered floral and leaf design on the V-neck bodice. Her black cotton and rayon flare style ankle length skirt has a 1-inch waistband. Notice the angled tucks across the front and the back. Jackie's black leather lace-up boots have a 1-inch heel. Jackie's outfit is enhanced by drop earrings and a long sterling silver chain and top opening thimble cage housing a flower embossed thimble. This adornment indicates that she is a seamstress. To top off her appearance, she wears a Gibson hairstyle with a flower design hair clip. Jackie is good advertising for women needing a seamstress. Our next model is Pam Rogers. Pam is wearing a 1910 white cotton nightwear. It is typically washed only every other week. Note the long sleeves and buttons in the front. The buttons are made from local seashells. This is a nightgown worn by upper middle class women. Sleepwear during this age was usually referred to as night clothes and often consisted of ankle-length nightshirts or nightgowns and floor-length robes. Almost everything was white, especially when the style was first adopted. Once you're in this loose and comfy nightwear, you would want to relax in the best way possible. Pam is ready for a long night's sleep. Now we move on to the 1920s. The 1920s brought the advent of the cocktail dress. No need to change clothes between cocktail hour and dinner. Simply adding gloves and a few other touches turned the cocktail dress into evening wear. The shorter length 1920s dress shows more leg than was previously acceptable for the lady to wear at any hour. The shift design was looser fitting and no discernible waistline. The freed women from the need of laced-up corsets. Skirts were shorter with dresses having no or dropped waistlines. They were much more comfortable for dining and dancing. A lady of the 1920s usually covered part of her forehead, either by a low brim of a hat or a simple headband. In the Victorian and Edwardian eras, only the wealthiest ladies could afford to wear jewelry. These jewels were usually family heirlooms and were gifted by their wealthy husbands. Women's movement of the 1920s brought a whole new fashion freedom afforded by costume jewelry. Before hemlines became fashionably shorter, there was no need for dressy shoes. The 1920s brought in the need for luxurious silk stockings and attractive shoes designed for dancing. Our next model is Sonia Moore. Sonia is wearing a sleeveless rose gold and white sequin cocktail dress. Note the low-cut neckline. The dress is short, as were many in this era. She wears stockings and strappy gold sequin high heels. Sonia's outfit is enhanced by a silver necklace and a gold headband trimmed with flower and a feather. All eyes are on Sonia as she circulates among her friends. Our next model is Camille Levy. Camille is wearing a black chemise and hemline detail, drawing attention to the knees. Going out on the town meant wearing fur for both men and women. Fox was the most affordable for the working girl. Camille's is not real fur. Her outfit is accented with ropes of pearls. Camille is wearing black gloves and the popular accessory of a headband. She wears stockings with garters, necessary during Prohibition, and black strappy high heels. Imagine her making a grand entrance into a speakeasy. Our next model is Marvin Robinson. Marvin is wearing a classic 1920s style cocktail dress that features a sheer overlay of elegant black and silver beads and sequins embellishing the stripe and diamond pattern. The V-neck design is accented by clusters of silver sequins at the shoulders. The sheer embellished sleeves are fashionably shorter, revealing more of the arm while providing modest coverage. Elongated fringe with an irregular hem moves beautifully during walking or dancing. These vintage-inspired black satin pumps feature a rounded toe, a T-strap design, and a cultured Cuban heel, providing all the comfort you need for an evening on the dance floor. Yards of imitation pearls became the rage and could be worn by any woman of fashion. Marvin wears pearls, usually worn at multiple lengths and sometimes tied in a knot as worn here. The drop earrings provide a swinging movement with a large single pearl and a rhinestone ball. The multiple strand pearl bracelet features a rhinestone clasp and is worn here over lace fingerless gloves. This dressy evening headband of diamond-shaped rhinestones features an embellishment of rhinestones, feathers, with 3 short strands of dangling pearls. Bring on the music. Let's shake the rag. Next, we move into the 1930s. The Great Gatsby's Charleston Roaring Twenties carried over into the 30s. There was no shortage of fashion icons in the 1930s, thanks to the rise of the movie star. But it was Joan Crawford in 1932 who proved just how pervasive an influence film could be on fashion. Starring in the film Letty Linton, Crawford donned a diaphanous white organdy gown, which would spawn thousands of copies across the U.S. Designed by MGM costume designer Gilbert Adrian, with whom Crawford and other stars would continue to work with on and off the screen for years. The dress diverged from body-skimming dresses the public had become used to in the early 30s. She also wore the slinky styles that were popular in the decade. Our next model is Paula Stark. Paula is wearing a flower dress. It is adorned with sequins and beads. Beads hang down to give the fluid effect of movement while dancing. Take note of the slit in the front that assists in every important movement on the dance floor. Paula is accessorizing with black sequin earrings and a mixture of rhinestone and black bracelets. Her shoes are black strappy sandals with a rhinestone top strap. Paula is ready to fill her dance card. Our next model is Bonnie Sproat. Bonnie is wearing a turquoise dress adorned with fringe. It has a low-cut neckline and is sleeveless. Its knee-length hemline shows off her black hose and shoes. She is wearing a pearl necklace and sparkly bracelets. Her outfit is topped with a beaded headpiece reminiscent of the Flappers. Bonnie will be the talk of the town in her cute outfit. Now we move on to the 1940s fashion looks. Dresses are calf or knee length, preferably pleated and buttoned up at the front with a fitted vest. If one cannot find a dress with a fitted waist, then a nice belt with a bow tie can cinch your waist quite perfectly. Shoulders were padded or ruffled. Nylon stockings were hard to find because most oil-based materials were sent to the war effort. Women often drew seams on the back of their legs to imitate stockings with seams. Our next model is Sandra Vogelpohl. Sandra is wearing the black pants of the day, which are wide legs with a wide waistband and a thin black belt to cinch her waist. Loungewear and workwear blended together to create the first decade of women's trousers, aka slacks, styled after menswear but with a definite women's silhouette. Her top is gold silk with button-down front and fitted waist. She has bishop sleeves with wide cuffs, and her shoulders are padded for that strong silhouette. Her hair is styled in a victory roll curls, and she is wearing a daisy pin worn by her mother on her wedding day in 1938. Our next model is Maria Fortuno. Maria is wearing a knee-length dress with a form-fitting black skirt and a billowy green floral design V-neck blouse, complete with shoulder pads that defined the era. Her marcasite bow brooch complements the bow design in her red open-toe, ankle-strap Queen Anne heeled shoes. Her fascinator hat, Union Made in the USA, continues the bow theme with a black bow atop her head and a small veil that slightly covers her forehead. Maria is carrying a black velvet clutch, just the right size for a picture of her beau overseas. Maria demonstrates the latter 40s attitude of women in late World War II. Our next model is Toni Jones. Toni's ensemble is appropriate for either an afternoon tea party or an evening cocktail party. The foundation of her ensemble is a black vintage floral lace V-neck, A-line dress with 3/4 length sleeves with cutouts. Her dress is highlighted by a black pillbox derby hat fascinator with a facial net that adorns her head. Toni is wearing seamed black nylon stockings and Mary Jane style shoes, which are sturdier than most party shoes. Her shoes are trimmed with tiny loops and buttons and have a zipper to aid with putting them on. Toni is also wearing black lace floral gloves that are quite elegant for such an occasion. Her lovely black pearl beaded handbag holds a few necessities. Toni's short black sheer evening cape protects her from the wind. Last but not least is the beautiful pearl necklace that adorns her neck and accents her outfit. Toni is now ready to party. Now we're ready for the 1950s fashion look. In the 1950s, a favorite fashion trend among young ladies was the poodle skirt. Elvis Presley helped to create the musical genre of rock and roll. His fusion of country, pop, and blues not only influenced music, but also dance, fashion, and an anti-authority attitude. Our next model is Sandra Vogelpohl.
Miss Sandra is stuck in a vortex. She's somewhere between the 1940s and the 1950s.
Oh, okay.
She'll join us in just one moment.
Okay. Sandy is wearing a pink and black cotton swing skirt that is represented in the style of a vintage embroidery a la Assisi stitch and small round silver mirrored sequins. Let's not forget that black ruffle petticoat, which helps to make the skirt stand out and creates a whirlwind of fun on the dance floor. She is wearing a black turtleneck top with short sleeves. She has pink bobby socks and black flat shoes. Her hair is styled in a ponytail with a black scarf, and she is ready to dance. Remember Chubby Checkers and the Twist? Our next model is Sonia Moore. Sonia is attired in a cocktail-style dress popular in the late 1940s and early 1950s. This vibrant red dress features capped sleeves over a sweetheart neckline and a fitted bodice. The swing-style skirt is worn with a matching crinoline, which complements the fullness of the skirt. This very feminine style shows off her curves and makes a beautiful silhouette on the dance floor. She wears stockings and strappy gold sequin high heels. Sonia wears a lovely silver necklace. She and her partners are ready to swing and sway with Danny Kaye. Our next model is Teresa Fortuno, 1950s Elvis Presley. Teresa is wearing a handmade dress from Elvis Presley cotton fabric. The black, gray, and white material features a montage of vignettes of the king of rock and roll. The shirtwaist style with Peter Pan collar has two side pockets. Teresa's hair is in a high ponytail style, characteristic of the day, tied with a black ribbon. She is wearing black flats and is carrying her hula hoop, a favorite pastime of the 1950s. Teresa carries a Barbie doll wearing an Elvis dress. Teresa's dress was worn on a trip to Graceland, the home of Elvis. At that visit, tourists from all over offered to buy the dress right off the owner who was wearing it. That's a true story, and the legend lives on. Next, we move into the 1960s fashion look. 1960s fashion was bipolar in just about every way. Bright, swirling colors, psychedelic tie-dye shirts, and long hair and beards. Women wore unbelievably short skirts, and men wore tunics and capes. This was the first time that fashion was driven around the youth market and featured a wide number of diversified trends. The Beat generation is known for its rejection of materialism and the standards of the day, experimentation with drugs, and spiritual and sexual liberation. It evolved in the 1960s to become part of the hippie, large counterculture movement. Our next model is Dan Mishaw. Daddy O Dan, he is one cool cat, you understand? Smooth, baby, smooth, can you dig it? Dan is wearing a French-style outfit of the Beat generation. He wears a black beret, which is associated with France and Spain. The beret worn here could have been bought at a high-end French boutique, a department store, or a thrift or secondhand store or shop. His cotton Brayton-style shirt has blue sailor-like stripes. Coco Chanel was so inspired by the design that she incorporated stripes into her 1917 collection. Drain pipe trousers were popular among the Beatles. They were beltless and had no front pockets, just dual pockets in the rear. His pair of sandals is an essential part of the apparel. The nonconformist beatniks liked the freedom of sandals. Dan's Ray-Ban sunglasses were a favorite for a nonconformist lifestyle. Peter Fonda, Clint Eastwood, and Bob Dylan were rarely seen without their Ray-Bans. Last but not least is the reefer worn over the ear. The reefer was often used by some beatniks in clubs, gatherings, and in homes. Illegal, but not much seen in the mainstream America. It's Dan the Man. Oh, our next model is Sandra Vogelpohl. Sandy is wearing a handmade dress of peach linen with fitted bodice and a full gathered knee-length skirt. It has 3/4 length gathered bell sleeves. Both the skirt and the sleeves are trimmed with white daisies. Her hat is an ivory pillbox of Paris net with cellulose blend in a ribbon braid, and her gloves are embroidered nylon. She is wearing her mother's mustard seed earrings and double strand pearl necklace. Her shoes are white T-strap wedge heels with white flowers. The Bible she is carrying was given to her by her great uncle in 1959, a self-ordained Baptist minister, and she covered it in ivory fabric and trimmed it with lace to carry at her wedding. Sandy is an example of dressing in your best for church. She is ready for a good time at Eastern Avenue Baptist Church.
Thank you, Renee. And thank you all for coming today. This was the end of our fashion show. If some of the models would like to come up and just walk through so they can see you one more time, that would be just great. Just come on up. We are pretty busy at the Women's Club of St. Cloud. In fact, this next Sunday, tomorrow, we are going to have a concert over at the community center. And this is at 3101 17th Street. And you can buy tickets at the door. This is Music Through the Ages. And we have our favorite keyboardist, Denny G, and his vocalist who are going to be entertaining us. The music starts at 2 o'clock and would go until about 4 o'clock. So please join us tomorrow. This is a fundraiser for our scholarship fund. As you know, we give 2 scholarships a year to high school seniors in St. Cloud and Harmony. And so this helps us give that $1,000 scholarship to each one that's selected. So thanks again for coming today. We really appreciate you. And so let's show some appreciation for the models. Okay, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. And if you want to talk to any of them about what they're wearing, all these things came from their closets mostly.
Not mine.
No,